Hey everybody, this is GGB. Today we're going to be talking about the one upset of the day we have today. By the way, I didn't get an upset right, guys. So if you guys just want to put a dare down there below, then you can do that, and I will have to do it if it's the most liked dare. So this is really interesting, guys. We only have one game. We didn't have any upsets yesterday, which means I finished with 2.5 points instead of 2 points. Whoopty freaking do. We almost had two upsets yesterday. St. John's almost pulled it out against UConn, and Maryland almost did pull it out against Purdue. But unfortunately for both those teams, they made critical mistakes down the stretch, and that made them not win their games. Northwestern got killed, just absolutely creamed by Illinois. It wasn't close. But at 8 o'clock, we do have one top 25 matchup. Again, this is probably not the ranking that we're going to have Kansas, but you know what? I got to do it anyways. 8 o'clock, we have Oklahoma State, which is at 12-12. Traveling to number 8 Kansas, which sits at 20-4. Kansas favored by 10.5 points on ESPN. Kansas, as you all know, sit at 9-2 atop the Big 12. With a loss, can fall to 9-3 and be tied for first place with Baylor. Baylor would actually have the tiebreaker based on a better overall record. They would have 20. They would be 20-5. Baylor would be 21-4. So Baylor would actually pass Kansas, at least in like the official standings. Like if the season ended today, obviously it doesn't, and there's a chance you can change that for Kansas. But basically, if you're Baylor, you're hoping and praying for a Kansas loss here. Kansas wins, obviously stays in first place. Oklahoma State with a win. Oklahoma State with a loss will fall to 5-8. Oklahoma doesn't play till Tuesday, so you'll have to wait for that if you're Kansas. If you're Oklahoma State, Kansas. So Oklahoma State with a loss would fall to 5-8, and out of the tie, at least unless. So ideally for Oklahoma State, you win this basketball game, and Kansas State loses to West Virginia. If that happens, you move to 6-7, and Kansas State falls to 5-8. And Oklahoma State would move into sixth place all by themselves. They would have, although Oklahoma State with a loss can also stay tied with Kansas State for sixth place in the Big 12 if Kansas State also loses to West Virginia. But if Kansas State beats West Virginia and Oklahoma State loses today, they would be out of the tiebreaker and they would be in the seventh place all by themselves. Anyways, that's what's going on in the Big 12. I'd like to talk about one more game. Obviously, I'm going to have to pick Oklahoma State to upset Kansas because that's the only ranked matchup we have. I would like to talk about one very important game. It's not a ranked matchup, but it's still very important tomorrow night. It's Virginia's playing Virginia Tech, right? And what's really interesting about this game is Virginia Tech, again, has won 5 straight to get this point, and the team with the second longest winning streak is Virginia with 4 straight. Now, they're tied for that with Notre Dame, but it's really kind of fascinating that Virginia Tech has been able to get themselves all the way back into the spot. I talked about it last episode, but this is a huge game for Virginia. Again, it's not going to change much with a win. With a win, you move to 8-7, and Virginia falls to 10-6. And while that's really, really good, and you're getting back into the swing of things, you're not passing Virginia. With a loss, you can fall to 7-8, which would put you below Syracuse, which you just beat. This is a huge game for Virginia Tech because down the stretch, this is one of their tougher games. You look at it, they play Virginia this week is their tough stretch of games. They have 3 really tough games left. They have the one on Monday against Virginia, and they have the one on Saturday against UNC. Both these games will be at home. That's lucky for Virginia Tech because you're going to have to play tough teams. You'd love to do it at home. The only other tough games they have is the Saturday after that. They play Miami, and that's going to be on the road. That one's going to be really tough because Miami, as we all know, is really high in the standings. Miami sits tied for third in the conference with UNC. Again, UNC is going to be a tough game, but at least you get that one at home for Virginia Tech. So the Hokies have a chance here. Remember, if the Hokies win out, they are a likely tournament team, right? Because if you look at the Virginia Tech schedule, you would add 6 wins onto it. They would be 21-10, and that is a tournament team. I don't care what anyone says. You could probably win. You could lose a couple of these 2. You could probably lose 2 of them. I think you can't lose 2 against good basketball teams because you need quality wins. You would need to beat 2 of Virginia, UNC, and Miami. But let's say you slip 1 to Louisville or Clemson. I don't think that's going to hurt you all that much, especially if you do well come big ACC tournament. Anyways, that's all I have to say about this. I really kind of want you guys to tune in because it's going to be a phenomenal game between the Hokies and the Cavaliers. It always is. I'm really kind of excited to watch it. But here it is GGB saying adios amigos and go Cowboys.